Today I'll be going through on how to solve for x by decompleting the square form. As you can see here, we have a very basic type of equation, which this is how decompleting the square form looks like. So we have x minus 5 bracket square minus 9 equal to 0, and we are asked to solve for x. So the first thing to do is to shift the negative 9 over to the other side of the equation, which is what we do with plus 9 on both sides. So I'm going to write it down to show you that the first step is to move the 9 over to the other side. So we have our negative 9 to move over to become 9 on the other side of the equation. And the next step to do is to remove the square. So to do that, we have to just square root on both sides. So by square rooting, we will remove the square here. So the square will cancel away. The square root will cancel away the square. So we will have x minus 5. Okay, so we do not need to write the bracket anymore. But when you square root any number, we need to always remember to put in our plus minus sign. This is very important. Okay, it will always have a plus minus, because if we square root 9, we get either, so this is what we will get plus minus 3. This is true because if you were to take positive 3 square, you get 9, and if you were to take negative 3 square, you get 9 also. So that's why when we square root any positive number, okay, you cannot square root negative number. If you square root any positive number, you get a plus minus value of the square root of that value that you put in. So in this case, we will have a x minus 5 equal to plus minus 3. So what you need to do is to move the minus 5 over to the other side of our equation, and there you go, you have two answers. So it's a positive 3 plus 5, or we have our negative 3 plus 5. So we can see that here we have 8 or our 2. Okay, so this will be our two answer when we were asked to solve this completing the square form to find our x. And usually we have two answers because this is a quadratic equation. Okay, so for our next type of example that will come out in exam, that usually they will come out if it doesn't come out this basic completing the square form. So I'll write down the other one, which is looks something like this. So we have a coefficient in front of our x squared, and it works the same way. So the first step to do, we just have to move our negative 8 over to the other side of our equation. So we have something like this. And the next step is to divide both sides by 2. So we can divide both sides by 2 so that we can cancel away our 2, and we can simplify on the other side of our equation. So we get something like this. And once you get to this stage, it's very similar to how you approach the way to solve for x, just like how I did a moment ago. So we just have to remove the square, so we can square root both sides of our equation, and that will get us x plus 1. And always remember that when you square root any number, we have a plus minus in front of the square root sign there. Okay, so then we have to just press it in our calculator. In not all the case that we get a nice number, but in this case I'm showing you an example. So we will have a square root plus minus 4 that will get us a plus minus 2, and then we just have to move our positive 1 over to the other side of the equation, and that will get us into two answers, which is 1, which is 1, or negative 3. So there you go. That is how we solve our completing the square form. And these are the main two types of example. And I'll go through with you on how to sketch completing the square form, using completing the square form to sketch graph. Okay, so I'll see you next time in our next video.